Hi everyone, Jai Hind and welcome to the platform of StudyIQ IAS in English. And in this video, we'll be talking about exercise Balikatan 2026. Now, this is a very important topic geopolitically because this exercise is getting conducted in South China Sea. So, we'll be talking about all the important stakeholders that are there when it comes to the exercise Balikatan, as well as what is its implication for India as well. So, we'll be talking about all this in this video. So, stay with me till the end of the session. My name is Bhavar Singh I'm ex-NDA 115th course and qualified civil services in 2012, and I welcome you on the platform. Now, when it comes to exercise Balikatan, like I said, it is a very important and strategic exercise that is being conducted in the region that is South China Sea. Now, this exercise is between US and Philippines, but there are other nations as well which have participated or which have been included into the exercise, and that makes this Balikatan exercise that involves more than 17,000 personnel from the US and Philippines. This is a transition that we are seeing in the Philippines from the internal security to the territorial defense focus, and this is the first time that we will see, or we have seen, that there is active integration of the US Space Force also in the exercise. Now, this exercise is being conducted in proximity to the Taiwan Strait and the disputed South China Sea. That makes this exercise very, very important. So, the exercise is being conducted at two places. There is northern edge at Itbayat Island, which is located in Bhutanese, and the population is just a few thousand, and US Nemesis anti-ship launchers had been located or not deployed at this region. All right, they had been deployed over here, and when it comes to Itbayat Island, it is just 155 meters to, the distance is just 155 meters with Taiwan. All right. There is the second stage of the exercise that is also being conducted at the western edge at Zambales. Now, why is Zambales important is because Zambales is located close to the Scarborough Shoal that you can see over here. The distance is just 230 kilometers, and over here counter-landing live fire drills are being conducted in this exercise. Now, when it comes to the exercise, the name had been taken from the language that is, or a dialect that is Tagalog, and this means shoulder to shoulder. When it comes to the defense partnership between US and Philippines, that started in 1951. In 1951, there was MDT, or the Mutual Defense Treaty, that was signed between both of these countries. Later on, in 1998, it was upgraded to VFA, that is Visiting Forces Agreement. In 2014, there was EDCA, or Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, that was signed between both the nation. And in 2026, we have seen that it have upgraded to CADC, that is Comprehensive Archipelagic Defense Concept, and it is focused on the territorial defense instead of the internal security or internal, defense. Now, when it comes to the Space Force, so we have seen that this complete exercise is basically where the Space Force and the modern warfare are being used. And there is the satellite communication resilience as well as GPS anti-jamming training that had been, or that had been performed in this exercise. Also, there is, when it comes to the complete exercise, there had been usage of the attritable systems for the coastal reconnaissance as well that had been used, as well as there had been live fire drills targeting some simulated amphibious invasive forces. And when it comes to the jointness, so basically this exercise is about the interoperability that could be achieved between the land, sea, air, as well as the cyber warfare tactics. So this is a very sophisticated exercise that is being conducted in the South China Sea. Now, it becomes very important to see that which all arsenal are being used in the sea. So we have seen the use of the Typhoon system, that is of USA, and basically this has the capability to strike in the mid-range. So there had been a Tomahawk missile that had been fired from a civilian airport in Leyte, striking a target in Neuva Ecija. Also, when it comes to Nemesis, that is NMESIS, this is also from the USA, and this is anti-ship launcher, and it had been deployed to the remote northern island of Itbayat, guarding the strategic Bashi Channel. Then also there is Type 88. Now, this is the first time after the World War that we are seeing Japan to be engaged in any of the military exercise outside Japan. All right, any kind of strategic offensive or defensive capability. This is the first time that Japan is participating. And Type 88 is basically anti-ship missile from Japan. And they have been live fired in Ilocos Norte to sink a mock target 40 kilometers offshore. As well as BrahMos had been used in this exercise. Now, BrahMos had been, we have shipped BrahMos to the Philippines. BrahMos is a supersonic cruise missile, and ultimately they had been newly acquired and integrated into the joint operational framework of Philippines. At the same time, when it comes to the sea warfare, you can see that the warships from USA, warships from the Philippines, from Australia, from Canada, and even Japan are participating in the complete exercise that we are seeing right now. Now, this exercise is important because I told you that this complete region had always been geopolitically active because China always asserted its control and sovereignty over the complete South China Sea. Now, the first island chain that is there over here, this is the Philippines, and you will see that these are the first chain islands. So this is the front line of US-China competition that is there. It lies between Taiwan and between Philippines. There is Luzon Strait as well, which is a vital choke point between Philippines and Taiwan. Also, there is Bashi Channel, which is critical for the submarine movement and the trade routes. There is Ilocos Norte, that is the proximity, or it has proximity to Taiwan, that makes it a strategic staging ground, and Palawan as well, that is gateway to West Philippine Sea, and these are the important regions that you can see over here. This is the complete South China Sea that you are seeing on the front, and over here you will find that these are very important. We have Gulf of Tonkin that is there. There are Parcel Islands, Spratly Island as well, and then over here you will find that there is Scarborough Shoal that is located. All right, then over here there is a Sulusi that you can see. All right, and this is the complete region that is there. You can find this line. This line is called as 9-dash line. Now, this 9-dash line is basically where the China lays its sovereignty, or China says that this is under the domain of China. However, this complete region is basically, it is disputed between the nations which surround the South China Sea. Now, when it comes to the region that are there, you can see that this is the Itbayat Island. All right, this is Batan Island and Sabtang Island. So these are the Batanes. They are called as Batanes. All right, they are called as Batanes, and in this Batanes, you can find that basically Itbayat Island is there. We have Batan Island, Sabtang Island. These are the major islands. Along with this, we have the minor islands also, which are located in the Batanes Island. Also, when it comes to the strait, so these straits are very important. You can see that this is over here. We have Luzon, and there we have the Luzon Strait, and here we have Taiwan. So it when it comes to the Philippines, it is between the Philippines as well as Taiwan. There is Bashi Channel as well. Now, Bashi Channel is very important for the submarines. All right, it is not very important for the passage of the commercial ships, but over here the submarines, they can move through this Bashi Channel. So there is Luzon Strait, there is Bashi Channel as well, and you can see Bashi Channel is where we have Batan Islands and Itbayat Island, Batan Island, which are located over here. So between Batanes and the Taiwan, there lies Bashi Channel, and over here we have Luzon Strait that is located. All right, at the same time, you can see that this is the portion of, or this is the region that is called as Ilocos Norte. All right, this is Ilocos Norte. Again, this lies, or it has very close proximity to Taiwan. All right, at the same time, these are the Palawan. This is Palawan that you can see over here. Again, very important and strategic region in the region. All right, now what is the basically root cause of this exercise that is being conducted? The root cause is China. All right, when it comes to China, China have anti-access and area denial aims to push the US forces out of the first island chain using the missile bubbles. Also, there is a grain zone tactics that the China uses. It uses the maritime militia as well as water cannons and the reef reclamation to change the status quo without any kind of full-scale war in the region. Also, when it comes to the island building, So China is building over here artificial islands since 2013, and it has destroyed over 13.62 kilometers square of the area and the coral reef. And also when it comes to the Beijing's, so Beijing want to reunify the Taiwan. All right, this is the goal that Beijing have or the China have, and that creates a ripple effect, forcing Manila as well as Washington to prepare for the spillover effects that it could have. All right. Now over here, like I said, that it is the first time that we are seeing Japan to participate into any offshore military drills, and it was in the 1945 that there were imperial Japanese occupation and war crimes in the Manila, and that led to massacre. There were more than or nearly about 1 lakh of the civilians that they died. And over there, the ideology at that particular point of time Japan had was Greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere. It wanted to increase its dominance in the region. Now, when it comes to the strategic pragmatism of 2026 that we are seeing, so over here, Japan is conducting live fire combat drills on the Philippines soil for the first time after the Second World War. And the ideology have changed, and the ideology is FOIP, that is Free and Open Indo-Pacific. So this is the lethal precedent where we are seeing that Japan is firing its Type 88 offensive anti-ship missiles overseas, and it is officially transitioning from a pacifist logistical hub into the frontline combatant in a potential regional warfare that we are seeing right now. Now, what are the India's strategic stakes in the complete exercise? So it is the BrahMos diplomacy that have been, at the front runner or at the focus, because Philippines is the first export customer of India's BrahMos missile, and it is a game changer for the littoral defense. Then also it is important for the Sagar policy, that is security and growth for all in the region, that necessitates that there should be a rule-based South China Sea that should be there. Also, it is important for Act East policy because we are expanding the defense cooperation with the ASEAN nations, and also we are moving beyond the traditional boundaries that is there. And also it is very important for the strategic autonomy because India balances between the Quad regime, and also we are avoiding any kind of direct alliance that we are seeing in the complete domain. Now, when it comes to the various dimensions, when it comes to the South China Sea, so it has different dimension for the different countries. All right, there is an economic threat to the 3.4 trillion US dollar of the global trade that passes through the South China Sea for the USA. There is also the internal Philippines politics where Marcos Jr. he have shifted from the Duterte's pro-China stance as well. There is also, when it comes to the environment, there are the ecological damages which would be there or which are there already there because of the construction of the artificial island, and also because of the various military drills which are present in the South China Sea. And also when it comes to the science, so there had been advancement in the multi-domain operations. And we are now moving towards satellite data sharing. We are seeing or witnessing US Space Force, which is participating in an international military exercise that is going forward right now in the South China Sea. Now, what could be the way forward, and what could be done for the future so that there is peace on the globe? Now, the first thing is that there should be a diplomatic recalibration where we should parallelly pursue a binding code of conduct that should be there between the ASEAN and China, the ASEAN nations and the China, and there should be a capacity building where we should encourage India and Japan to further assist Philippines in the maritime domain as well as more maritime domain awareness without any kind of escalations or escalatory rhetoric. There should be also strengthening of the UNCLOS. Now, UNCLOS or the United Nations Convention Law of the Sea, it must move towards the constitution of the oceans, and also from might is right to the rule of law. So the rule of law should be applied to the international waters, to the oceans as well, and we should, for that, it is very important that the UNCLOS must be strengthened. And also, when it comes to the alliances, we should ensure the alliances are basically defensive and transparent to prevent any kind of miscalculations in the region, and there should not be any kind of escalations that should be there. And we have seen that when it comes to the complete operation, so from the US and the Philippines side also, they have reiterated that this exercise is not towards or against any one country. All right, this is just the exercise for the preparedness. At the same time, when it comes to China, so China has been seeing this eye with suspicious, intent. So ultimately, that is all in this video. But at the same time, when it comes to the peace, so we should be talking about, or we should be thinking about that, whether the peace could be through the deterrence, or this is just a preparation for the conflict in the region. Now, Balikatan 2026, it marks the end of the post-Cold War era, the stability and the dawn of the contested multi-domain Indo-Pacific order that we will be seeing in the future. So that would be all in this video. I hope that now you have a complete understanding of the Balikatan exercise and why this matters when it comes to the South China Sea and even for India as well. But before going, let me tell you that if you are preparing for the Civil Services 2027 and 28, so then you can join the optional subject for public administration. You can join the classes which are starting from 15th of May, and you can use the code BRS Live for the maximum discount. Also, you can join GS Foundation batches at StudyIQ, that is Resolution P2I, and again, they are available for both the year, that is 2027 and 2028. And again, you can use the same code, that is BRS Live, for the maximum discount. So that would be all in this video. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me over on the platform of StudyIQ. I will see you in the next video. But till then, do take care of yourself, and also do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any of the updates in the future. So that would be all. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care and Jai Hind.